Deux pneus.
Deux
Deux
pneus.
flats. Deux flats. Bon, là, je suis avec le gars de la remorqueuse. Dis bonjour. Allô.
Il part de l'épaule, elle a tombé de l'épaule.
Alors, deux nids de poules sur la rue
ça,
Notre-Dame. On s'en vient avec des solutions, mais entre-temps, on se fait remorquer. Puis je sais que les rues, ça n'a pas de bon sens.
Well, she's just like you. She's getting flat tires thanks to the pothole-ridden streets of Montreal. She's the mayor of Montreal. Our pleasure to welcome Soraya Martinez Ferrada back onto the program. Mayor, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So let me ask you first things first. Why did you post that video online? I think there would have been some other mayors who may have been embarrassed of posting such a thing. Why did you say, you know what, I'm going to show what's happened to me?
Well, because you have to show that you understand. I mean, there's no way for me to be mayor of Montreal not see what's happening in the streets. And for me, it was important to let Montrealers know that, well, even the mayor of Montreal can get stuck in a pothole. And I know that this is unacceptable and that this is very, very, it's a nonsense to have these streets like we have right now. And I'm working really hard to find solutions. I will be announcing later on today some urgent matters and solutions. But I wanted them to know that I understand.
How much did it cost you? The flats, the towing? What was the bill at the end of the day for you?
Probably over $2,000 or $3,000.
Jeez. Okay. So that's not fun. And of course, Montrealers have to fare the same way.
And I want to say, and I really want to say something here. I was not laughing about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually laughing about the driver from the towing truck that he was laughing about me. So I found just his reaction funny, but not the situation. So I want to tell everybody that I don't laugh about the situation. I actually talk about this with my services every day because I want to, find a solution. But I want to make sure that people understand that I don't find it funny. I found the truck driver funny. Actually,
you gonna file a claim with the city? Try and get reimbursed?
No, I'm not. Absolutely not.
What's your message to Montrealers who have been exactly where you were and have those $2,000 bills? What's your message to them?
I understand how difficult it is, especially when you're either a single mother, don't have another solution than having a car, a family that, this will cost them a lot of money. I totally understand the pressure on your finance. And I'm working really hard to make sure that we don't, that the city doesn't find themselves in this situation again. I'm disappointed that our city has not been taken care of enough. So we find ourselves with such a bad roads in our city.
Now, you mentioned it off the top there that there's going to be some announcements coming. I don't want you to scoop yourself, but tell us everything you can tell us this morning. I mean, listen, it's 11:40. I'm sure you can tell our listeners some news that's coming today. What should we be expecting? What are you going to be doing about it?
I think people have to understand there's two things. First of all, today I'm going to be announcing a couple of things to address the urgent matter of security that we have in our hands. I mean, this is becoming a public safety security to make sure that we can, go around our lives in our streets and not be afraid of driving through our streets. So that's the first thing. So I'm going to be announcing a couple of things to address the very urgent matter today. But that will not be a solution for the spring because, as you know, when everything is going to go, the weather is going to come down and we're going to have the spring coming up, potholes come back. And I feel and I think we're going to have it worse this spring. And I want to make sure that we're going to be ready for that. And I want Montreal to know that it might get worse before it gets better. And that's what I'm going to be announcing, how we're going to work on that for the spring.
Can you give us any of the how? Again, just scoop yourself a bit here about what the how's going to be.
There's not many ways to address the urgent matter of potholes. You have to put some bitume on it and make sure that you're covering them. So, I mean, there's no other solution than doing that. But as you know, I would, if I could myself do them all, I would, but I can't. So we're going to have to get some help to do that.
On
So,
that, on the
in a
help
couple of
side,
hours,
and on the help side, will you be relying on private companies? Is that the help that's coming? Deals with lots of different
So
people?
let's just wait in a couple of hours so we can give you all the announcements.
Okay, so if we can't scoop ourselves here, which I understand, let's talk about what you think. As you've said, either on the viral video or as you said on the show just now, it's a nonsense. Like, it doesn't make sense, the state of our roads. What have we been doing wrong? Because we can go back to headlines 15 years ago, same types of headlines. Inherently, how do we do things wrong in the city of Montreal?
Well, I think we're going to have to look at the materials we're using, techniques that we're using. The fact that we have to put more money in the maintenance of our roads. This is not rocket science here. All mayors that have come before me have been, confronted to somewhat a bit of this situation. I got to say that this year has not been this worse since at least about 10 years maybe, that it hasn't been worse. The last time was, I think it's 2018, where the 311 had almost the same amount of calls. So it shows you how worse it has been in the past. But, yes, so equipment, need to have better equipment, need to rely on our own services or blue collars to work with us eventually to do better in terms of maintaining those roads, working with the boroughs. As you know, locally, mayors have a responsibility on the local roads, and we combine ourselves with the arterial roads, the bigger roads. We need to go back to look at how can we be more efficient and work in more collaborative way. As you know, we had 5 equipments that were working. So we have to do better in terms of we can't build a home without having nails and tools. And potholes, the same thing.
With the mayor of Montreal.
Removal, same thing.
We're with the mayor of Montreal, Soraya Martinez Ferrada, talking about the potholes here. You brought up the blue collars. I need to ask you. Yesterday they were on strike. Well, how do you repair that relationship? How do you get to a deal with the blue collars so we don't have another day where we don't have blue collars filling potholes?
I hope that this will be a wake-up call for everybody, city and blue collars, to go at the table and negotiate. When we're, protesting on the street, we're not at the table talking and finding solutions. We have a responsibility as a city to make sure that we are having a deal with the blue collars that respects the capacity that taxpayers have to pay. We have 7 conventions to negotiate this year. Unfortunately, that hasn't been done in the past few years. And we've met with every single union when we got in the administration at City Hall to show them that even though we know that the conversations around negotiation will be difficult, they have to know that we appreciate every single union and that we know that workers in the city are important. And we want to find good deals with them and make sure that we are, again, in inflation, the cost of living, everybody has them. You have them. The people listening to you. Cost of life is difficult, and we have to find a way to have a convention and a collective agreement with blue collars that will respect, the fact that we're in the same boat. And it's difficult for everyone.
One last thing on the potholes. There was a story out this week that perhaps the city of Montreal, they had let a call to tenders to fill potholes, and the company that did that let it expire. Were there any mistakes made in preparing for this new year and not being ready?
No, at all. Well, the agreement with the company ended on the 31st of December. We got in power at the end of November. We started the process of, the bids to have new companies. Unfortunately, the companies that responded were not eligible for the contract. So that's where we're right now. And that's why, later on today, we'll be announcing a few things to make sure that we can make sure we respond to the urgency that we have right now in our hands. But that doesn't solve the issue of making sure that we have the means to work differently as a city to make sure that we have deals that are less costly, that we can afford, but also that are efficient. Quebec gave us a new law that will, on the 1st of April, will be able to eventually state an emergency matter and, work differently with the private sector and with blue collars eventually to make sure that we are having the work that we can do at the lower cost.
All right. One last thing here to touch on, maybe some good news for the City of Montreal. The City of Montreal wants to attract NATO to put its defense bank, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. You guys want their defense bank to be based in Montreal. Is this about putting the City of Montreal on the map?
Well, we have right now in Montreal, in the all region of Montreal, we have the very big ecosystem that's already there. We are one of the few cities in the world that's capable of assembling an aircraft from start to finish. We have the largest aerospace hub in the region of Montreal, Area Montreal, Bombardier, Pratt & Whitney, and so on and so forth. But we also have university, research hub, and we have diplomacy because we have 68 international organizations such as the International Civil Aviation Organization. So we have what the Bank of Defense of a NATO Bank of Defense needs, which is economy, diplomacy, in a city that's open to the world. And I think that's why, the competition being very high between us and Toronto and other cities, I think Montreal is the better city and position to give the Bank of Defense what it needs.
Hopefully we have the inside edge there. Mayor Martinez Ferrada, thanks for your time. À la prochaine.
Thank you so much.
That's Montreal's Mayor, Soraya Martinez Ferrada.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.